Hello, my name's Andrea and I'm 28 years old. My life took a turn for the worse when my mom and I walked in on my dad cheating on my mom. I was only 10 years old when it happened. My mom and I had gone out for a girls' day at my dad's insistence, and when we came back, we saw another car parked in our driveway. My mom and I curiously walked into the house to find out who it was, but all we heard was small noises from her bedroom. I was too young to understand what was going on, but I remember my mom's face paling. She asked me to stay in the living room, but I followed her anyway. She opened the bedroom door, and there was my dad and his assistant, Louise, naked in their bed. "What the hell's going on here?" "What do you think, Robin?" "Look, don't be mad. I was going to hand you the divorce papers anyway." "Right, because that makes this so much better. You were not supposed to find out, okay? Just let's breeze past this and forget it ever happened." "How will I do that? I just walked in on my husband sleeping with another woman. Why would you tear our family apart like this?" "Because I'm tired." "Oh, big deal, Robin. I'm tired too, but you don't see me cheating on you." "No, I'm tired of you." "Tired of me? Why?" "Yeah, because you're never home. I come back home and there's no one to share my troubles with. You're always too tired to do anything. And tell me, honestly, when was the last time we talked about something other than Andrea?" "I've been tired because I'm the only one contributing to this household. You haven't moved a finger since you lost your job. I've been working every hour I have just to keep a roof over our head, and you repay me like this? Andrea is the only one that's keeping me alive right now, and you're her father. Of course I'll be talking to you about her. Whatever. I'm tired of you and this crappy relationship. I want a divorce. I'll be happy to sign those papers." Mom and Dad got divorced pretty quickly after that. Mom was a mess. I had never seen her so depressed. She cried herself to sleep every night and barely ate anything. Dad, on the other hand, got married to Louise as soon as the divorce was finalized. I hated my dad for a very long time after that. He and Louise begged me to be their flower girl, but I refused. My mom finally stepped in and told them that if I didn't want to do it, that was final. Dad was upset with me and Louise was furious. I guess that was something that only added more fuel to the fire because Louise's hatred for me grew even more. The worst part about the divorce was that my parents had equal custody of me. Since they lived just a few blocks away from me, both equally distant from my school, I had to spend 2 weeks at each of their places. Living with Dad was a nightmare. Louise policed everything I did. She yelled at me for the tiniest things. And Dad always stood by and watched. By the time I came back from Dad's place, I'd be so exhausted that I just want to sit in my room in silence to give my ears a break from the yelling. Mom was still recovering from the divorce, but when she started to feel better, she began to ask me how things were for me. After she picked me up from Dad's one day, she asked me what it was like. "How is your stay at Dad's, sweetie? Do I have to keep going there? Can't I just live with you?" "Why? Did something happen?" "Louise is very, very mean to me." "What do you mean?" "She always asks me to call her Mom, and when I don't, she takes my books away." "And your dad does nothing?" "No, he's never around when she does it." "Does she do anything else to hurt you?" "No, but she calls me a lot of mean names, and whenever I do something wrong..." "What is it, sweetie?" "She says mean things about you. She says that I mess things up because I'm being brought up by you." "What in the world?" "Oh, I'm going to have a stern word with your father." "Don't do that." "Why?" "Last time you called, I got yelled at a lot by Dad and Louise. They told me to stop being a telltale, and that when I'm in their house, I have to listen to their rules. Oh, sweetie, I'm so sorry that you have to go through this. Is there anything you can do, Mom? Unfortunately, I don't think I can. I share custody with your dad, and there isn't much I can do to change that. I really don't want to keep going there. It makes me feel sick to think about Dad's place. I'm so sorry, sweetie. I'll try to do something, but I cannot promise you that something will happen. Okay, Mom. Mom couldn't do much, so I was just bored with everything at Dad's house. I made sure to savor the time I spent with my mom because that was the only time I was actually at peace. Mom made sure to make her house a safe space for me, and whenever I came back from Dad's, she'd have all my favorite snacks and movies ready just so I could unwind and feel better. That's how it was for the next 5 years. Mom tried to get full custody of me, but she was denied. And then Mom told me that she needed to discuss something with me. Sweetie, I need to discuss something with you. All right, what is it, Mom? I have this really big decision to make, but I don't want to do it without your opinion. Oh, should I be worried about it? Technically, yes. But I do want to preface this by telling you that if you say no, then I won't do it. Okay, you're scaring me. Just tell me what it is. I got offered this amazing job opportunity, and I need to tell them whether I'm accepting it or not in the next 48 hours. Oh my God, Mom, that's amazing. I know, sweetie, except the opportunity is in another state. Huh? What do you mean? I mean that I'll have to move there if I take this job. But, well, what does that mean for me? It means that you'll have to live with Dad till you're 18. I won't be able to make you uproot your entire life to come there. Not to mention, I'll practically be starting from scratch, which means that I won't be able to take care of you either. Oh. It's a really big decision. I just wanted to have you on board before I did anything. Well, I think you should take it. What? Are you sure, sweetie? Yeah, I mean, this place is nothing but a reminder of everything that went wrong for you. If you had the chance to start all over again, why wouldn't you? Okay, but I care about you more than any of that. I know, Mom. If you didn't, you would have just made this big decision without me. Even if you change your mind at the last minute, tell me, okay? I will. It'll be really weird without you here. It'll be weird without you there, sweetie. But if your dad and Louise cause any trouble, just call me up, okay? You know I'll be calling you every day, right? That's my girl. I was happy that Mom talked to me about it and wanted me to be in on her decision. But I was sad that she was going. I knew that her leaving would be much better for her mental health, and if she also got to earn a lot more money, I didn't see why she shouldn't take the job. Within the next 2 months, Mom had been packed up and ready to leave. I got settled into my room at Dad's place. The first week was pretty good. Louise stayed out of my way for the most part, and Dad was actually a present parent who made sure I was doing okay. But then things started to change. Louise went back to being her controlling self. I didn't say much or even oppose whatever she said or did because I wanted to keep the peace. But after a while, keeping the peace at the cost of your own mental health becomes irrational. So I started speaking up. Of course, Louise did not like that. She thought I was being disrespectful. She would scream at me while I spoke to her like she was a child, which only infuriated her more. My dad stayed out of it and almost always sided with Louise. It hurt, but I knew that if no one else was going to stand up for me, I had to do it. One day, Dad approached me after he came back from work, and Louise and I had another fight because Louise didn't like that I was playing a violent video game. I tried to tell her that it was age appropriate and actually involved a lot of mental work to play properly, but all she saw was violence. She told my dad I was being disrespectful, and he came to my room to talk to me about it. Why is Louise telling me that you're being disrespectful when I was gone? Because she's lying. Don't you dare speak of her that way. She's your mother. No, she's not. She has raised you since you were 10. If that doesn't make her your mother, I don't know what will. She did not raise me. She's done nothing but force me to behave in a way that will make her look and feel good. And that's an issue because? It's an issue because she doesn't care how it affects me. She has never once respected any of my boundaries and has always insulted me. Since when has this been happening? It's been going on since the start. I've been telling you this for years and you've never once listened to me. Well, give me some instances of what you're saying. For starters, she used to take away my books and toys when I was a kid because I refused to call her Mom. I don't see how that's a bad thing. She was only teaching you the right thing. No, I already have a mother. She will never be that, and she refused to acknowledge that. To make things worse, she would always, and I mean always, insult me whenever I did something wrong. Like just yesterday, I accidentally spilled some milk on the counter, and she called me a disgrace to the human race. That's nonsense. Louise is one of the sweetest women I know. She would never say something like that. Are you telling me I'm a liar? I mean, you've even walked in on her insulting and belittling me many times. Look, I don't have time for these petty fights between the both of you. You're literally the only one with any say in this. If you say something, she'll stop treating me like this. Listen, all I want is for you to respect her. Whatever else happens, just deal with it. I want Louise happy, and if I hear another complaint from her, yes, you'll make my life even more of a hell, because she will always get first priority over your own daughter. Message received. Andrea, this is not. I have homework to finish, Dad. I'm going up to my room now. Good night. I knew that I had no way to get Dad to see what I was going through, so I decided to just wait until I turned 18 so I could move out and never look back after. I endured Louise's torture for the next 2 years. She only got more controlling because she realized that Dad would side with her no matter what I said. My mom tried her best to make me feel better, but she was in another state and there wasn't much she could really do for me. It still made me feel better that she would sit with me on call for hours and just listen to me rant about what I was going through. Dad had completely checked out of what was happening in his own home. He refused to acknowledge the growing tensions between Louise and me. He didn't even seem to mind the fact that I stopped talking to him. The day I turned 18, I made sure all my things were packed up. I arranged with my friend to stay at her place until I graduated high school and moved into college. Her parents were horrified by what I had been going through and readily agreed to host me. My friend picked me up at midnight on my birthday. I knew that Louise would have been dead asleep at that time, and Dad had gone on some business trip, so I didn't have to worry about him. I had loaded most of my stuff into her car, and just as I was taking the last few bags out of the house, Louise woke up and came running to me. "Where the hell do you think you're going?" "I'm moving out." "No, you aren't." "Well, I'm 18, and I think I can make a decision." "You're going to right back to your pathetic excuse of a mother, aren't you?" "At least she's better than you." "How dare you?" "Look, can you not make a big deal out of this?" "How can I not? My daughter is moving out without so much as a word to us about it." "I am not your daughter. And why would I say a word to you about it when you've done nothing but make my life a living hell?" "You ungrateful brat. Do you know the sacrifices your father and I had to make to even keep this roof over your head?" "I know of one sacrifice. Dad's previous marriage." "Just because you turned 18 doesn't mean you get to be smart with us." "I'm just giving you the replies to your questions, Louise. Just wait till your father hears about this. He will be livid. He'll make you come back." "I really don't think so. Not only will he have absolutely no legal right to do that, but he'll also be glad that I've gone because he won't have to deal with you constantly complaining about me." "What are you trying to say? That I'm a nuisance to your father?" "Those are your words, not mine." "Why, you..." "My friend's waiting for me outside. I need to get going." I quickly left the house before Louise could do or say anything more. She stormed after me and tried to get me to come back into the house. She even began yelling at my friend for poisoning my mind against my family. I quickly threw all my remaining things in the back of my friend's car and told her to leave immediately. My heart was racing as we left my place. I knew that I was old enough to make my own decisions, but I still felt like I was breaking some big rules by doing what I did. Once I reached my friend's place, she helped me settle in. Her parents were very welcoming of me and treated me like I was a part of their family. Dad called me multiple times, but I only answered once. He only called to ask me if I was safe, and I told him I was. He wished me good luck after that, and that was that. I never heard from him again. Thankfully, he and Mom had set up a joint account for my college, which they both religiously contributed to from the start, so I was able to fund my college years without any debts. Once I got accepted into a good college, I said goodbye to my friend and her parents and moved to the dorms of college. I didn't want to be too far from my town because my mom was planning on coming back within the next year or so, and I wanted to be able to meet her whenever I wanted. College was truly one of the best times of my life. I was free and I never got judged or policed around. At least that was how it was until Louise started blowing up my phone every other day. She somehow knew everything that I was doing. She knew when I left my campus and where I went. She would call me every time I left campus and would start yelling at me for being unruly. Sometimes she would even call me to yell at me if I'd been in one place too long while I was on campus. Like one time I was studying for my finals in the library overnight, and she called me to yell at me because she thought I was doing something bad. I was obviously getting fed up with her behavior, and I did some digging about how she even knew where I was. Turns out she had secretly set up this app on my phone that allowed her to see my location at all times. I called my dad in a rage and told him to get a grip on his wife or I would report Louise to the police. Louise sent me a nasty text after that. She told me that she regretted ever trying to be a mother to me when I was already so far gone into my evil ways. I just blocked her number after that, and things quietened down for a long while after that. I graduated college with a great GPA, and I managed to get myself a really good job in my field. I found myself in a good apartment and began truly living my life. My mom would come down every other month to spend time with me. She managed to find another job with way more flexibility that allowed her to work from home. So sometimes she would spend 2 weeks at my place and we'd spend all our time just catching up and having a good time. I managed to find someone that I wanted to settle down with as well, and we are going to get married next year. Before I knew it, 10 years had passed since I had any proper contact with my dad. So you could imagine my surprise when I opened my front door one day to see my dad standing there looking miserable. "Dad, what are you doing here?" "Am I interrupting something?" No. I just got back home from work. What's going on?" "Well, I'm kind of struggling with something right now and I need your help." "What could you possibly need my help with?" "I just figured you of all people would know how to deal with my situation." "Okay, stop beating around the bush and just tell me what's bothering you." "Ever since you left, things have been tough." "Why? Did Louise start tormenting you?" "Yes." "Oh, wow. What on earth is she doing to you that made you come to me of all people?" "She yells at me for every little thing and constantly finds one reason or another to start a fight. Add the insults along with that and I'm a very miserable man." "Well, I don't know what you expect me to do here." "Maybe you could let me stay with you for a little while. I mean, I want to divorce Louise, but the house is under her name. If I divorce her, I won't have a place of my own, and I don't have the kind of money to get my own place right now." "Honestly, I don't care." "Excuse me?" "I'm going to tell you exactly what you told me all those years ago. Just deal with it." "How dare you speak to your father like that?" "You had no problem speaking to your daughter like that, so I see no reason why I can't do the same to you. As your father, you have to help me." "Did you help me as a father, or did you just let me suffer for years? You didn't even make an effort to contact me for the last 10 years. What makes you think I'll help you? You have some nerve to show up at my doorstep and demand my help without an apology." Please just help me out this once. I'll be better, I promise. I'm afraid that ship has sailed. You brought Louise into our lives, and you should be the one to deal with the consequences of it. Goodbye, Dad. It felt great to put Dad in his place. I never wanted anything to do with him anyway, but it felt good that karma worked in such a beautiful manner. I knew firsthand what kind of a nightmare Louise was, and a part of me did feel bad for my dad, but at the same time, when I needed him the most, he never helped. Dad kept trying to contact me after our last contact. He kept sending me these long messages that were essentially him trying to emotionally blackmail me into helping him out. I refused to give in, and when his texts got too annoying, I simply blocked him. Of course, that wasn't the end for Dad, because he got his family involved in it. I got a lot of calls and messages from my aunts and uncles calling me an ungrateful child. They tried to guilt trip me by reminding me about all the sacrifices my dad made and how he had changed so much after his first mistake of cheating on my mom. I was having none of it, so I put all of them in a group chat and told them that if they felt so passionately about helping my dad, they could open up their own doors to him. The group chat was radio silent after that. When I told my mom about what had happened, she was very proud of me for standing up for myself. As for my dad's current situation, I found out that Louise caught wind of my dad's desperate attempt to get me to help him out. They had a huge argument about it and she kicked him out. They're getting divorced, and if I know anything about Louise, she will make his life hell. Dad went as far as to get a new number just so he could text me and tell me what a jerk I had been and how I ruined his life. It's a great feeling to see everything fall into the right place. With everything from my past fully resolved and me getting vindicated, I can finally move on to bigger and better things. And that's the plan.